Holy moly guacamole. Ladies and gentlemen, upset alert. Damn it, I said upset alert, y'all. I ain't playing around. Ladies and gentlemen, Vergil Ortiz versus Erickson Lubin this Saturday may very well end up in an upset. And Erickson Lubin may be the victor. I got Vergil Ortiz edging a victory versus Erickson Lubin. But ladies and gentlemen, mark my words, it's going to be a war. Guerra, guerra, guerra. It's going to be a war, y'all. All right? This is the 154-pound division. If you're familiar with the channel, Punch Drunk Boxing, a.k.a. Mr. Mo, who shot himself. I've been telling y'all about this division for years and years and years. This has been my favorite division. I've been saying this is the most difficult division in the sport of boxing. This is the landmine division. Anybody can get it, like Adrian Broner said. Shout out to Adrian Broner. Both these guys, very technically sound, but they throw down. They want to go to war. And when they get hit, they go to war. Now, let me tell you like this. Again, everybody have shown their vulnerability in the 154-pound division. That's why I always say it's the most difficult division. It's a stacked division in the sport of boxing. Let's not forget that the king of boxing right now, currently, Terrence Bud Crawford, he had a difficult time in the 154-pound division versus Madrimov. We see Tim Tszyu. He had a hype. He had the hype, and he was there, and he was there to be great, and he was taking risky fights, right? And then he was losing. He took a loss versus Baccarat. He took a loss versus Sebastian Fundora. Let's not forget that Sebastian Fundora also got knocked out by Brian Mendoza. Tim Tszyu beat Brian Mendoza. Let's not forget that Harrison got beaten by Tim Tszyu, but Harrison beat Charlo. Then Charlo beat Harrison. Let's not forget that Lubin beat Jason Rosario. Jason Rosario beat J-Rock. And then Charlo beat Jason Rosario. Let's not forget that even Canelo Alvarez, when in the 154-pound division, Canelo Alvarez had an edge, a close, controversial victory versus Lara. Let's not forget that Lara had a controversial draw with Brian Castaño. Castaño had a controversial loss versus Charlo, and then Charlo knocked him out. Patrick Teixeira was supposed to be the guy, right? He was supposed to be Tim Tszyu before Tim Tszyu. Let's not forget that Demise Andre also got dropped by, I believe it was Matarosian. Remember? Or split decision victory versus Matarosian, right? What I'm trying to say is Vergil Ortiz, Boachuk, could have gone either way. Jason Ramos and Erickson Lubin could have gone either way. What I'm trying to say is, folks, that ain't nobody have really separated. The only guy that truly separated himself was the undisputed king in Jermell Charlo. But it wasn't easy to become undisputed in the 154-pound division. Let me tell you like this. A lot of people didn't want to give a lot of credit to the 154-pound division because a lot of people just hate Jermell Charlo for whatever reason. But yeah, he's the one that was there to be great within his division. A lot of people thought that, Tim Tszyu was going to be the guy. But no, that's what I'm talking about, this division. So don't be surprised if you see an upset victory with Vergil Ortiz losing to Erickson Lubin. I got Vergil Ortiz edging, and I like Erickson Lubin as a fighter as well. I wish he was still with Coach Kevin Cunningham, because I see the evolution of Erickson Lubin. He's with Coach Kate Karoma. I respect Coach Kate Karoma as well. You know what I'm saying? New York City. But this is the division that you never know who's truly going to win. This is the best division in the sport of boxing. And now that it didn't have a lot of high-profile names, but it has similar names, right? Let's not forget this was the Jermell Charlo, Demise Andre, Canelo Alvarez, Lara, Cotto. All these guys was here, right? Even in the Korobovs of the world, remember? Matarosian, like the extreme elite amateur backgrounds and stuff like that. Then they moved to the 160-pound division, and then look at right now. Jerome Bruce Ennis in the 154-pound division. Vergil Ortiz, Keith Thurman, Fundora. Yo, this is a stack. Xander Zayas. This is a stacked division that anybody could take a loss. I would not be surprised if anybody from the top 10 loses. If the number 1 is fighting the number 10, Anybody could take an L. So when I'm saying that, yo, I understand that a lot of people want to see Vergil Ortiz versus Jerome Boots Ennis. I believe that that's one of the most lucrative fight in the 154-pound division. But we got Earl Spence. We got Jamel Charlo still want to be in 100. That's still going to come to the 154-pound division, right? Hopefully, I wish that Terence Crawford come back to the division that he looked at ordinary, right? Because there's a lot of competition. You have a tournament in 154 is the best thing in boxing. I think it will save the sport of boxing. Just think about it the whole year and there would just be a tournament. But anyway, because people like to premature pick fights, or people like to you know, dream about seeing that Boots versus Vergil. They not even looking at what could happen with Erickson Lubin and Vergil. Again, Vergil was a dangerous fighter, just like Erickson Lubin. We see more vulnerabilities of Erickson Lubin, but we could say also that probably, you know, Vergil Ortiz could have had an L versus Boachuk. I had Vergil Ortiz winning, but there's people out there that feel like that Boachuk got robbed. Look at Boachuk; he just lost in his recent fight. Bakram is going to be fighting Josh Kelly. I think Josh Kelly's going to be Bakram. I think he's going to upset Bakram, yeah. Yo, do not be surprised if you see an upset. Do not be surprised if you see a war. Do not be surprised if we see a rematch as well. This matchup calls for an amazing fight. Erickson Lubin has all the tools to be a Vergil Ortiz, and Vergil Ortiz have all the tools to beat Erickson Lubin. The only thing that I do question is that I believe that Vergil Ortiz, when he gets hurt or when he gets caught, he goes into another level. And I haven't seen that when Erickson Lubin go through vulnerability, he doesn't overcome. He still fights, but he don't become the winner in that vulnerability when he gets hurt. When Vergil Ortiz get hurt, look what he did to Mean Machine. When Vergil Ortiz get hurt, look what he did with Boachuk. When Vergil Ortiz, he outperforms Bud Crawford as well with the Majamon fight. See, Vergil Ortiz, he has another level, and there's a monster level. He turns into a demon. That's one thing I've been trying to figure out ever since I've been studying Vergil Ortiz. Because in the amateurs, these guys, put it this way, in the amateurs, Erickson Lubin lost to Gervonta Tan Davis. Vergil Ortiz lost to Ryan Garcia. So you just never know, right? I know the amateurs is different from the pros, but sometimes we give props to what they did in the amateurs, just like Andy Cruz and Keyshawn Davis. Why we want to see that fight? Because the amateurs, right? We give Lomachenko a lot of credit because of the amateurs, right? We give a lot of credit to Usyk because of the amateur. But then we can't look. Sean Porter beat Usyk in the amateurs. Would he beat him now? No. So I understand the dilemma when but the amateurs not the pros. I get it. But we could implement that into assessing a fight. I think that Vergil Ortiz got another gear that Erickson Lubin have yet shown. I've seen Erickson Lubin make adjustments, just like the Ramos fight. But it's not going to war and go for the kill. It's actually finesse a win. See, when Erickson Lubin adjusts, he finesses you out, just like he did with the Gausha fight as well. When Vergil Ortiz has his vulnerability, he goes for the kill. And when Vergil Ortiz go for the kill, Erickson Lubin is not going to back down. But I think that Erickson Lubin is going to be more vulnerable. And that's why I feel like he should have stood with Kevin Cunningham, because he was developing a skill set and developing a maturity and developing a discipline with Kevin Cunningham. You saw that in the Ramos fight. I don't know why Erickson Lubin switched trainers. I don't know if it's ego or I know there's a backstory, but I'll let them probably say it. I don't think that I think and shout out to Coach K. Karoma. He is a good coach. He is a good trainer as well. But Kevin Cunningham is a Hall of Fame trainer, and I saw the growth of Erickson Lubin. I think that may be, I'm gonna say, the vulnerability is going to be probably too much for a dangerous hitter like Vergil Ortiz. Both of these guys have got shaken up before. Both of these guys have gotten dropped before. But I think Vergil Ortiz got. I think he could adjust to kill though. IQ. I think both of these guys got similar IQ in my opinion. got similar vulnerabilities. But I just think that Vergil Ortiz may have just a bit bite. Maybe Erickson Lubin got a little bit more wear and tear. They're around the same age. You know, he's just 30 years old. You know, Erickson Lubin dare to be great real early. But I got Vergil Ortiz edging, but I believe it's going to be a war. 115, 113, maybe 116, 112. I won't be surprised of an upset, especially in this division. But I don't want people to be surprised if it is an upset, though. But I got Vergil Ortiz edging this fight. But yo, to be honest, once it go to war, it could go either way. I just think that Vergil Ortiz could take and give just a little bit more, just because at this point, Erickson Lubin got a little bit more wear and tear. I thought he's going to need plastic surgery after that Fundura fight. I still want to see a rematch with that one. But you could tell that Erickson Lubin is willing to die in that ring, just like Vergil Ortiz. I'm telling you, this is going to be a war, y'all. It's going to be a war, but don't be surprised who's going to be the winner.